Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pointless Top 10, a show where we make top 10 lists of pointless things, where we fly by as pointless statue in Booty Bay, because inside pointless things are treasure. Let's begin. 10. Number 10 are Murlocs, and I put Murlocs at number 10 because they still feel a little weird in terms of being a playable race to me, but I could still see them being playable, and I think it would be pretty fun. I mean, we have characters like Sir Finley Murgleton, right? So it's not like it's completely out of the picture. In fact, according to the Warcraft wiki, Murlocs are an ancient race of Azeroth who evolved to survive in Azeroth's dangerous aquatic environments, and they may actually predate trolls. And so yeah, I do think it would be fun to have Murlocs. Maybe their mount could be like crabs, right? That would make sense. You ride around on a crab. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe you could even play as a Gorlock as an alternate skin type of thing. I will say there's the Jinyu, which are supposed to be like evolved, more intelligent forms of Murlocs, but I don't know, they don't hit the same. Like, I don't mind the Jinyu also being a playable race, but there's just something about being able to be like a little shaman that's like blah, 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 blah. It's like casting spells and stuff. I don't know, I just think that would be more fun, even if you did have Jinyu as a playable race as well. So that's why I decided to put Murlocs at number 10. 9. Number 9 is Quillboars, and I picked Quillboars number 1 because I would love to be able to play a Quillboar, which is why I put them on the list, but number 2, I just think they'd be a really fun race, especially if you were on the Horde, to be able to play. I mean, I could see people playing as a Quillboar warrior or a hunter or, you know, a druid, a shaman. There's even Quillboar warlocks over on the, you know, starter island. So, I mean, they would have plenty of classes to be able to play. You could even make a case for a Quillboar Death Knight, since they are, you know, with Razorfen Downs and all the undead stuff over there. You probably come up with some lore behind that, and it would still make more sense than Shadowlands lore. I think for the mount, they would probably have a boar, which would, you know, probably make the most sense. They are Quillboar. And honestly, I used to just not really like Quillboar that much, but after doing Pointless Top 10 Quillboar and learning about Quillboar, I really felt the urge to be like, I would love to play a Quillboar, and so that's why I had to put them on the list, and that's why the Quillboar are number 9. 8. Number 8 are the Naga, and I think the Naga have been contemplated as a playable race since the start of World of Warcraft. In fact, John Stats in the World of Warcraft diary said that Naga were among the first 20 races conceptualized for World of Warcraft. In particular, they were said to be Chris Metzen's favorite idea for a playable race. However, due to technical limitations, primarily their tails and the way the armor fit, they were scrapped during early development. And that is one of the things that I thought about, right? It was like, oh, you know, how are they going to have their armor fit and all this stuff? But I think Drakthir is probably the best example we now have of a race that kind of fits that mold, where it was like, how are they going to wear gear? How's that going to work? But it ended up working. And so I think if there's any time for Naga to become a playable race, it's probably right now. As for what type of mount they would use, I'm actually not too sure. Maybe they wouldn't use a mount. There's some weird like fish creature mounts they could go with. So I'm sure they'd be able to figure something out. But either way, that's why I decided to put the Naga at number 8. 7. Number 7 are the Tortolan, and I picked the Tortolan because, I don't know, memes aside from like, a turtle made it to the water and all that stuff, right? I just think they're cool. They got the ability to be like shamans or priests or druids. They do have, you know, Tortolan standing around with like warrior armor and spears and stuff, so they can be warriors as well. I don't know. I like the Tortolan. I thought a lot of people liked them, but then I looked on the internet, which, you know, great idea. And so many people are just like, I hate Tortolan. They're like pandas, but they're turtles. It's like Pandaren all over again. Like, I don't know. What did Tortolan ever do to you? They act like they were questing at level 32 in Stranglethorn in Classic WoW, and a Tortolan just came up and like ganked them in the back or something. It's like, I'll never like Tortolan ever again. But you know what? I like Tortolan, and that's all that matters for this pointless list on this pointless video. And I'm not sure what type of mount they would have. I guess there'd be crabs, unless the Murlocs already took the crab mounts, but dinosaurs would probably be cool. I mean, there's a bunch of dinosaurs all over the place, so that would probably work. So either way, that's why the Tortolan are number 7. 6. Number 6 are the Arakoa, and I picked the Arakoa because I've always really liked the Arakoa as a race in World of Warcraft, which I guess that's like most of the things on this list. I probably wouldn't put something on this list that I didn't like. But yeah, I love that they're these like humanoid bird people, and they got all these twitchy movements. They're just like looking around. They got these big long fingers, kind of like salad fingers from back in the day, or almost like E.T., I guess. They're trying to phone home. I think for their mount, they would probably have something like the Raven Lord, you know, just a big raven they would ride around on. That would make sense to me. I also saw a cool idea I liked online, which was a racial ability for inscription for the Arakoa, because they'd be able to use their their own feathers as quills so they could like write up inscription stuff real quick. I thought that was cool. Granted, I say all this, and I already know that the next playable races we're gonna get are gonna be like another type of dwarf and then just like another type of elf or something. But hey, you know what? It's fun to have an imagination and think of what could be. And so that's why the Arakoa are number 6. 5. Number 5 are the Ethereals, and I think the Ethereals are another race that people have wanted as a playable race for quite some time. They've also been around since the Burning Crusade, and it's interesting because there's actually a post on Wowhead from a few months ago. It was in December of 2024 where they data mined patch 11.1, and it showed a bunch of Ethereals in armor and having different bandage types and a whole bunch of stuff. So they got people speculating like, maybe we will actually get playable Ethereals at some point. I do think the customization ability of being able to like change the glow of your Ethereal and change the bandage colors of your Ethereal on top of being able to equip different armor would be pretty cool. I'm not really sure what the Ethereal's mount would be, but there is this mount from Hearthstone, which maybe they would take inspiration from, that actually looks really cool. It's like an animal that's got the same type of Ethereal glowy bandage look to it. And then maybe as a racial passive, they would get discounts at places since they're very into like trade and economics. There's definitely a lot of stuff to work with. And so that's why I decided to put Ethereals at number 5. 4. Number 4 are the Sethrak, and the Sethrak are a race of serpent people living in Vol'dun in Zandalar. And this is definitely one of the races that I think many people want. Whenever I see any threads or posts about playable races, the Sethrak are probably in like the top 5 every time. And I would be all for the Sethrak as somebody who is a big fan of Lizardmen, Seraphon in the Warhammer universe. Like I would love to play as a snake person. And their mounts would be the Krawlisk mounts, which are these big sand scorpion looking things. I actually don't know what they are, but they literally already ride them as mounts, so it's obvious that that would be the mount choice. And I do think it is kind of odd that we got Volparen as a playable race, and then we just didn't get Sethrak. Like, I thought they would have done both of them, or they would have given us Sethrak at some point, but I don't know. I think we're at a point where if they do add a bunch of playable races, now with Drakthir being a thing, Sethrak are more likely, because even if they have some armor limitations, people would be like, oh, well, look at Drakthir. They worked out, right? So I don't know. I still want Sethrak. I think they're cool. Go snake people, and that's why they're number 4. 3. Number 3 are the Centaur, and I picked the Centaur here because I feel like they're pretty unique compared to a lot of the other playable races because they're Centaur. They literally walk around on horse legs and they have the upper human body. So I think they have the cool possibility of being their own mount, kind of like what they wanted to do with Taran back in the day with planes running, right? Like they would just activate mount form and they would just go running and have faster speed. And I definitely think it's a bigger possibility now that we have the new Centaur models, the Maruk Centaur from the Onaran Plains compared to the old Centaur of Desolus, which, you know, don't look as great. However, I will say one of the issues I was thinking about was flying. I'm not really sure how they would fly. I guess they could maybe like druid form, turn into an eagle or some, you know, a hawk or something like that. But I don't think they'd be able to use normal mounts unless they just stood on top of the mount, but that would be kind of weird. But, you know, maybe something like turning into a hawk or eagle would be the trade-off for getting to play a Centaur. Like, you got to just give up having a flying mount you can fly around on. I have no idea. They could figure something out. Either way, that's why Centaur are number 3. 2. Number 2 are the Tuskar, and I have always wanted to play a Tuskar ever since Wrath of the Lich King. It's just probably one of my most wanted playable races. Obviously, I'm big into fishing, so they would have fishing bonuses. I'd imagine them having like warriors and shamans and hunters and druids. And obviously we already know that their mount would be the Audic mount because we've seen them riding Audics all over. You can even get your own Audic mount, so that's pretty easy to figure out. The only thing I'm kind of struggling with is figuring out their other racial abilities, because obviously I mentioned fishing, but maybe they can like swim underwater real fast. Maybe they can breathe underwater. Maybe they have bonus armor or stamina from their thick blubber, right? Maybe they've got some sort of tusk thing, like they can charge in with their tusk charge. I have no idea. I'm just coming up with these off the top of my head. I'm sure they can figure out some better ones. But yeah, I would love playable Tuskar. I think a lot of people would love playable Tuskar, and it doesn't seem like it's too far off from a realistic possibility, but that might just be my hopium. So that's why the Tuskar are number 2. 1. And number 1 are the Ogres. And I think Ogres have been the most wanted playable race in World of Warcraft history, because this is dating back to like even before World of Warcraft existed, there were probably people that were like, yo, in World of Warcraft, I can't wait to play an ogre, right? Because you got to play as ogres in Warcraft 3 and the Warcraft games. So people were like, oh, imagine I can get to play an ogre. In fact, from the John Stats Q&A, ogres were originally going to be the 4th horde race in vanilla, hence why they have so many animations. However, when the time came to animate and model female ogres, they couldn't do it within the 6-week deadline, and so we ended up getting trolls instead. And so you would think at some point in the next 20 years, we would have gotten ogres as a playable race, but we still don't have them. And I think ogres would just be a great addition. They could ride on thunder lizards or maybe like cleft hoofs or just some mammoth type of beast, right? And I imagine they could pretty much be every class. I think an ogre death knight would be the funniest of all of them. Or maybe even an ogre druid. That would probably be funny too. But I think we're well overdue for ogres. So even though I would want Tuskar the most, I would be pretty happy with ogres getting put in the World of Warcraft. So that's why I decided to put them at number 1. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Pointless Top 10. If you want more Top 10s, you can check out Owls from the other week. That was a fun one. Or you go check out Quillboars, because we mentioned Quillboars in this video. Also, give the video a like and comment below on which race you wish was playable the most. Okay? Okay. See you.